Is this on? Oh man. I still can't stop laughing. Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. They have went into complete meltdown. They're on a different planet from everyone else. Well, Celtic fans have been laughing at their complete meltdown online. There's one thing that the Rangers fans have really been talking about. This red card situation from a certain Rangers player that took out Johnny Kenny. Should have been a straight red. As you can see, his ankles, his studs are up as he goes right through the Celtic player. But nothing to do with them, is it? It's, the fact that he's off the ground, lunging at the Celtic player, studs showing, and it's his planted foot. And remember that we had a coach at Celtic that had a career-ending injury, and that ruined his career. And when you see that one, that should have been a straight red. Now, I'm not here for whataboutery this morning. No, I'm not here for the whataboutery because I think the whataboutery is it's off the scale. I've never seen such a meltdown. They really need to grow up. It's just, what I watched from them last night, always cheated, never defeated. And the meltdown online from that lot is doing unbelievable. Callum Osmond, we need to talk about Callum, don't we? He's been talking about Martin O'Neill and the difference between Martin O'Neill and Brendan Rodgers. The former youngster from Fulham was never really seen Rodgers give him a chance. But Martin O'Neill, we all know that Martin O'Neill, he's got it in him. He said he's always been the type of manager when he was at Celtic the first time round, 25 years ago. If you're good enough, you're young enough, you're good enough, you play. Callum Osmond revealed that Martin O'Neill's trust in him since coming to Celtic has been the difference after life without Brendan Rodgers. He says, look, I failed to feature under Brendan Rodgers after arriving in the summer. I was put straight into the squad midweek by Martin O'Neill, giving him a 15-minute game in the 4-0 win. He said he was thrown into the action for the semi-final, and it was fantastic. Getting your first goal for Celtic is good at any age. Sean Maloney was given his chance by the manager, and are we about to see Osmond go on? And we'll get to Johnny Kenny in a minute, because I think that Callum Osmond, Martin O'Neill will bring him out in the next couple of weeks or so. He'll make him even better, and it'll give the next manager a big boost. We've been crying out for natural finishers and people that are lively in and about the box, and we all expected Celtic to go out and buy big and bring in a big name striker or someone that had a pedigree that had done it before. But could it be the case that Brendan Rodgers, the misuse of Callum Osmond, and people are saying, well, where's Shin Yamada? Well, whatever Shin Yamada's doing in training, Callum Osmond is obviously 10x in it. It's as simple as that. I'm going to have no more talk of why the hell is Callum Osmond on the pitch. When you see the team that was picked yesterday, Schmeichel had a fantastic game. Even Schmeichel, you've got to say, I think that the whole Brendan ball of passing out backwards was a hindrance on the players. When you look at the way that the players played yesterday, even Daizen Maeda with a smile on his face, Schmeichel getting the ball out fast, Schmeichel kicking the ball up the park, would never have been done, and we would never have got the result that we got yesterday. Yes, it wasn't pretty in the second half. Always happens in cup finals. Cup finals are never really one-sided affairs. There's always a big chunk of a game where you need to dig in and just hold on. Yes, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up before they got their dubious penalty. Tony Ralston gets hit on the leg, straight red. Yep, straight red. Their penalty. Tony Ralston goes down with his hands in like this, and this is what you're told at Scottish football. Your hand has to be in an unnatural position. He didn't go down, he didn't have his arm out to stop himself from falling. But Rangers wish they could do that. It makes a hell of a difference a week in football. It does that. Let me just get the team away up there so we can get the comments in. A week in football, it's like a lifetime, isn't it? I mean, we can all completely forget about the previous manager and look forward. I thought Schmeichel handed the chance to, but then again, it was one of his best games in the Celtic shirt. I think so. I think it was one of his best games. The pitch was appalling, yes. I always found it weird that they were going to have a late game on a Saturday night and then an early game on a Sunday. Doesn't give the pitch time to recover at all. Why not have the semi-finals a week apart to give the pitch time to recover? I think it's crazy. They should have had, the Saturday game should have been an early game on a Saturday, and then the Sunday game should have been a late game on a Sunday. That's the way that you would think that they would do it. But anyway, Chris says he loves the smell of meltdown this morning. I think we all do, Chris. Getting back to Callum Osmond. Osmond conceded that Rodgers didn't push to improve him as a player. Oh, here's the man that says he loves to improve players. He says, but since O'Neill came in, he says, he's given me a chance to prove myself. He sent my confidence soaring. And 5 days on the training pitch, Martin O'Neill was sent his confidence soaring. It says a lot when, it just shows you the negativity that one man had over our football club. And that lot across the city thinking that we are going to go the same way as them and be in complete freefall. Well, nothing far from it. From day one, he said that he just spoke to me and he thinks very highly of me. He said the staff think very highly of me. That gives you the boost that you really need. Under both managers, we were pushing. But for me, Martin's just given me that confidence. When he's come in, he's given me the trust that I really needed from a manager. That's all you need from a manager. This is a reoccurring thing that's been said over the last couple of days by players. That's all you really need from a manager, says Callum Osmond. It only takes one person to believe in you and push you on. And hopefully that's just the start for me. But I've got to keep building and pushing on. Come on, man. Do we give Martin O'Neill the job to the end of the season and just go fuck every other manager out there? I know it's only 2 games, and people say that's only Falkirk. It wasn't just about being only Falkirk. It was about the passion, the pride. Everything that they spoke of, everything that they put on the walls yesterday. Let's move that up there so it goes top. Everything that they had: speed, power, passion, individual brilliance, pace, power, and intensity. That's just unbelievable. And this would already have been decided before they went to Hampden, and maybe under the previous manager. But Martin O'Neill has done something that none of us thought was possible with the current set of players. A lot of us were really worried about how another manager could come in and turn this team around. Because let's face it, we all thought it was the players that were shite. We all thought it was the players that weren't of a good enough stand. We were believing the manager in what he said over the last couple of months and said that we need quality. We allowed one person to drag us all down. He dragged us all down with him, and I'm going to admit that I fell for it. And I apologise to people that said I was wrong backing him. You were right, Paul Baird. You were right. You've been shouting out for 3 years that he should never have been here. But the change in the one man's attitude in the last 6 months at Celtic has been absolutely terrifying. And thank goodness we have someone like Martin O'Neill to come in and steady the ship. Do you know, it's just been the last... it was only a week ago that we were in the depths of despair after being beaten by Hearts the day before. And it wasn't a good day. It wasn't a good day after getting beat by Hearts. And we're all sitting thinking, if we drop anything by Falkirk, we were all sitting thinking, we're going to lose this semi. And then that'll be the end of Rodgers. Well, we're all looking forward to going, yeah, we'll get rid of Rodgers after the semi-final. We'll get beaten. We'd accepted it. This is how far we had been dragged down. We'd accepted the fact that there was a big possibility. This time last week, this time last Monday, before all the mayhem ensued, and I was getting ready to go to my bed. I mean, I was actually in my bed when it all kicked off. I was having an early night, and it was complete mayhem. You've got to remember, I'm an hour in front of you in Scotland, so everyone was dreading the Gunners. Baz said, right, Brendan was a liar. This time last week was dreading the cup. Everyone was. Do you know, and I'm not alone in dreading the fact that I think we'd all come to the conclusion that if we lose the cup game, that'll be it. That'll be the sort of straw that breaks the camel's back, as they say. That's the final nail in the coffin of Brendan Rodgers' tenure. But this morning is the treble on. Can Martin O'Neill do the unthinkable? Can Martin O'Neill do the unthinkable? Fast attacking football. Hail Martin O'Neill. My only worry is now that we bring in a manager that tries to tweak things too much. I mean, it's obvious with Sean Maloney and the other guys that are in the backroom staff, what an absolute boost that they have given this team. The belief, I mean, going back to Callum Osmond's interview, that's all you need from a manager. It only takes one person to believe in you, then you push on. Hopefully this is just the start for me. He's done the exact same with Johnny Kenny. He went on to say, it feels amazing. Like I said, there are no words to describe today. Callum Osmond was never going to get game time under Brendan Rodgers. He was there to make up the bench at best. It's going to be the craziest day of my life ever, he said. There's nothing that can really top this unless scoring against them in a final. This is the best day of my life, said Callum Osmond. He's one of us already. I could cry this morning with emotion. I'm just that happy that, you know, what a week in football. Having Martin O'Neill back at Celtic is just, it's done everyone the world of good. And is it a blast from the past, bringing back Martin O'Neill? Yes. Has he revived the team that looked dead and buried a week ago? Yes, he has. Do you know, decked out in the tracksuit that he was yesterday, it was absolutely fantastic. Slagging off the newer version of the tracksuits. He likes it a little bit baggier. He doesn't like it. You're just like, oh man, see if Martin's just been brought in to steady the ship and sell merchandise. I'm going back in December, and I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to be buying merchandise. I don't care anymore. the ban on merchandise, do you know what? As long as Martin O'Neill's here, it's like, fuck it. Change the board. Yeah, change the board. Stop buying stuff. I think that the fans this morning are sitting thinking, do you know what? That's a talk for another day. Could a different manager who wins the quarterfinals and semi-final and final, could be a different manager who wins the quarterfinal, semi-final and final. That would have to be some sort of record, wouldn't it? It would have to be some sort of record, because I don't think that it has ever happened at a club. You know, a manager takes you 3 different managers to get you to a final. Well, the bad equipment that Rodgers reckons weren't good enough has been made to work brilliantly by Martin O'Neill. Yeah. Any pissed Celtic dads, but that trackie last night. Oh man, honestly, I'm buying it. I don't care. Call me whatever. I'm buying that just because Martin O'Neill's been going about in it. And I think that'll be on the Christmas shopping list of loads of Celtic fans between now. But anyway, remember, we need to build for Europe. Is Kenny and Osmond the answer? Craigie White coming in with some negativity this morning. Yes, I think that they are. Give them time on the pitch. 2 young players. Did we ever question, was Sean Maloney the answer Did we ever question, is Aidan McGeady the answer? Did we ever question, was James Forrest the answer when they came through the system? That's my reply to you, Craigie White. XXL trackies are all sold out. A bunch of middle-aged men online last night. Fuck, I'm getting that trackie. Get that trackie ordered for me tomorrow. Engels looks a better player yesterday. Yep. We 1-0 yet. Made the same mistake we made against Aberdeen. I don't think that we'll do that. I think that there's Kenny and Osmond Celtic's future. I think so, personally. Sometimes you have to look back, and you look back. I can remember when Callum McGregor came through the ranks at Celtic, and I called him out as a potential Celtic captain then. I can remember seeing him at a pre-season game at St Mirren's ground, and there was something about him. You just knew he was going to be a fantastic player. You knew that he was going to be a fantastic, solid, dependable player for Celtic. And that's all you want for these youngsters come through the system. I know that Callum Osmond never comes through the system. I know Johnny Kenny didn't come through the system, but they were brought in as youth players. They've been brought in as youth players. Johnny Kenny brought in as a youth player. Look at Johnny Kenny when he went back to Ireland. He was about a foot smaller, and he was a wee skinny lad. And you're looking at him when he came to Celtic, and you're like, this lad's never going to be a Celtic striker. Callum Osmond has got something about him. And I think that Martin O'Neill needs to stay at Celtic, whether it be as a director of football, whether it be as CEO of the company, something that I've been calling out for before he returned as manager. Martin O'Neill needs to be retained at Celtic in some capacity. If Dundee can go out and get Gordon Strachan, I think that we need Martin O'Neill at Celtic. Thank you for the super chat, Tony. Absolutely love that. So we're going to go to the next comment because it's a cracker from Michael. Wife away to work this morning at 7 a.m. I'm off till Wednesday. Cracked open the left open beers. Watch the highlights again. Absolutely buzzing. Emotional with Calmat's goal. Lambert moment. Yes, it was a Lambert moment. And I said that during the watch along yesterday. That what is it with Celtic midfield players that come in, and Callum's done it over and over again, and over and again, but that was Paul Lambert style against Rangers. Paul Lambert took the ball in midfield and he hit a curving shot that went in past Stephen Kloss. Callum just went route one and just smashed it right fucking past the Rangers player, and the keeper couldn't get to it. It was absolutely brilliant. Came on against Falkirk, told my dad he's some player. First goal versus them, unbelievable. Yep. Osmond's going to get better and better and attract other clubs. I think that Callum Osmond, whilst he may attract other clubs in the future, I think if we can if we can keep Martin O'Neill at a club, and if you can keep Sean Maloney is going to be Sean Maloney wants to go back to being the loans manager for the younger players. He's the guy that sorts out the deals for players that go out on loan, even in the first team squads. People have said, look, we've seen Sean around the building. He's watched us in training and stuff, so he's a fantastic guy to have around. The motivation, the change, we said we needed change in the backroom staff. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I said, look, if there needs to be change, we need to get as good as John Kennedy's been over the years, and for all the respect that John Kennedy's had, he went stale at Celtic. Do you know, there is a time. It was not motivational. I mean, I don't want to talk about what happened last Monday because it's over and done with. We are completely. It's like we sat on a rocket, and whilst it took off and exploded last Monday, and Celtic fans didn't know where it was going to come down. Was it going to come down, splash down in the middle of the sea, and it would just be, we're all swimming for survival? No. The rocket took off, and it's currently circling the earth at 140 million miles an hour with Martin O'Neill on the charge going, woo, EPIA, motherfucker. Folks, remember, Rangers are always cheated, never defeated. Good morning to every one of you Celtic families and staff. When we look back, I mean, is there any point talking about this incident and stuff? Because it just takes us down to their level. We said before the game, a lot of people said, who's the ref, who's VAR, you know, and I dismissed it, saying that it doesn't matter who the ref and who VAR is, because ultimately we need to score more goals than them. And yes, I said there could be incidents that VAR will get involved in, and there were. They tried their utmost to make sure, and it's the funny thing is that lot across the city think that the refs are against us, the refs are fucking against us, there should be an investigation, there should be an investigation. Fucking Fenians are fucking everywhere. I'm telling you, the fucking Fenians are everywhere. Watch it this morning. It's a fucking Fenian in my breakfast. No, that's just a serial loser. Woo! That's a serial loser. Celtic's other relationship. Callum Max opener is on par with Nakamura goals against the could do. He did nothing but win and score a penalty. 8 million players, Morelos Mark 2. Celtic is the only relationship where I never turn my back. Exactly. Women can come and women can go, but Celtic will be there forever. Chris Gorman's goal when we beat them at hand and get it up your hands. Callum Osmond was fantastic when he came on yesterday. Kenny header was great for the confidence. Johnny Kenny's header. I mean, for me, that could almost been Chris Sutton like, Henrik Larsson like, do you know, even John Hartson like. I mean, John Hartson scored a good few headers. The fact that he gets in front of his defender, running towards the front post, it's Henrik Larsson like all over it. Do you know, there's so many comparisons that you can make, and hopefully Martin O'Neill at his time here can elevate these players. Because I tell you one thing, it can only be for the good of the club. Because when you've got Shin Yamada, you've got Iheanacho, who the rumours was proven to be fucking just some Hun at it. I mean, whoever started that allegation and the rumour about Iheanacho should be getting a chap for the post at the door, because that wasn't nice. But anyway, we move on. The fact that you've got Kelechi Iheanacho sitting, who's now going to be on the bench. I mean, do you drop Johnny Kenny from starting? The talk of using Dyson Maeda through the middle, that needs to stop now, because you've got Johnny Kenny and Osmond that offer you more. And I know that, you know, Dyson scored a lot of goals last season coming through the middle, but it gives you the opportunity that you can go two up front. I thought yesterday we were just phenomenal in the first half. Yes, we should have scored more in the first half. You know, there's Rio Hatate doing a Rio Hatate in the second half. Should have scored the goal. Hits it over. You're thinking, when James Forrest comes on, turns inside, takes a shot, hits the crossbar, smashes it off the crossbar. It doesn't just, I mean, it smashed off the crossbar. If that goes in the back of the net, that's up there with the shot that Callum McGregor had. And you've got to say, the run from Tierney. Tierney's been getting a lot of stick. The run from Tierney and the ball in from Tierney. You've got to give Kieran Tierney the respect that he's due this morning with the Callum Osmond goal. Callum Osmond had to be in the right place, running in between the two defenders. But at the same time, the ball had to be perfect from Kieran Tierney. And it was absolutely brilliant for Kieran Tierney. So, I mean, I know that he had a bit of a groin strain. It wasn't part of his fitness. It was a bit of a groin strain that he had that kept him out from starting. You could say that his replacement, Sarachi, Jesus God, man. There's, you would never thought, that this was the same Celtic team that was managed by Brendan Rodgers. You would just never thought. Tav was disappointed again. His record of scoring against Celtic is embarrassing. The penalty. I mean, he's only a penalty scorer, isn't he? Just get it in early. That's it. I mean, I can go on longer. If I start at 9:00, it means that I'm done for about 9:30. If I start early, you can have me much longer in the morning. Thought Osmond goals was Kyogo-like, hanging on the shoulder of the defensive line while waiting to pounce. Yep, and the fact is a player like Callum Osmond can only get better. I think we've seen Kyogo, there was no improvement in Kyogo. He was just Kyogo. He came in at a level and he never improved as a player. He was a fantastic player. He was. Let's not deny that. He's not as fantastic now. He's not having the career that he had when he was at Celtic, that's for sure. But I think that the fact that we've got Callum Osmond to come in from Fulham, and he was promised first team football by Celtic. That's how they got him in. And you've got to remember that Callum Osmond was only brought into Celtic because Daniel Cummins decided, I can't see myself getting in this team. There's no pathway to getting into the first team. They're talking about putting me out on loan and stuff, and I'm seeing players leaving Celtic and going into first teams. Brendan Rodgers has got a lot to answer for. A lot to answer for. I mean, I know that we can all, in hindsight, but the fact that Callum Osmond and what he said to the media yesterday about the difference between Rodgers at Celtic and having Martin O'Neill for 5 days, it's like chalk and cheese. It's completely like chalk and cheese. Let's jump into some more. Johnny Kenny's hold-up play was brilliant. Best I've seen from a Celtic striker in years. Yep. But the thing is, we kind of knew he had that in him. And I said at the start of the season that Johnny Kenny, if Adam Ida was still going to be at Celtic, Johnny Kenny was proving himself pre-season. You're thinking, this guy's going to give Adam Ida a run for his money. And maybe that's why Celtic ultimately went, do you know what? We can get rid of Adam Ida and his big wage bill. And Johnny Kenny's coming through. And Johnny Kenny's going to be a better player than Adam Ida. And that's something that we should all be thankful of. Because Johnny Kenny wants to... I mean, Adam Ida wanted to be at Celtic. I think he was a bit shocked when he was sold under his own... he wasn't expecting it. It just came completely out of the shadows. The Grand Old Lodge practically bankrupt. No envelopes for the refs. Yeah, it must be another disappointment for Tav. How long do you reckon until heads roll at Ibrox? How long is it until he's down at Greg's with his sausage roll? I'll give it till Christmas and they'll turn against the manager. They'll turn against him. I mean, how humiliating for the German to be wearing a poppy. First time in a year we can go to work with a real smile on my face, on my cooting. However, it works out with Martin O'Neill. Oh, the wee boy for Eustace is a great sell. What a goal, Calmac, our captain. Yep. You think the squad's strong enough for Europe? It doesn't need to build for Europe. I think we do need to build for Europe. Ouija. Right, Ouija. Just calm down this morning, mate. Jesus, honestly. Ride the wave whilst it's high. Surfers don't wait on the next wave. They grab the wave as it's going. Of course we need to build for Europe. What kind of ridiculous comment is that? But I also believe that these young players are the future for Celtic. But anyway, you can't please every Celtic fan, can you? And I don't want to. I'm not here to please you, Ouija. Feel free to go. You've been dismissed. Good to see Dyson smiling again and busting the gut and looking interested again. Yep, Hatate should have had a penalty as well towards the end of the first half. I mean, there was another one where there should have been a penalty when the Rangers player handled the ball out. But you're never going to get it. But who cares? You have to win. You have to score goals. And this is what we did. We knew that we weren't going to be able to walk the ball into the park. Rangers went into the low block. Big style. And we knew we had to score for distance, and Callum McGregor did that. We also knew we had to get quick balls in to our strikers, and we did that also. Yes, we need to improve for Europe. The squad's nowhere near where it needs to be. But you've got to pick up the squad. I will defend this squad because you've got to pick up the turnaround in the players' attitudes. If this team of players had had Martin O'Neill in for the start of the season, we would be in the Champions League. Simple. So Ouija, come back and answer that one. This is right to Ouija. Do you think that if Martin O'Neill had been here at the start of the season with this squad of players, we would be in the Champions League? Come back with an honest reply in the chat if you've no disappeared. But anyway, we move on. What a difference Martin O'Neill at the wheel. Exactly. Brendan Rodgers has done a Ronnie Biggs and buggered off to Brazil. He could stay there. Stop dumping on Rodgers. Toxicity begs more toxicity. No, it doesn't. You've got to speak the truth. There's no use covering it up. The issue has left the room. Never mind the elephant has left the room. You have to address the issue. And if you don't want to address the issue, do you know what I mean? You have to talk about it. You have to talk about the improve. The players are talking about it. If the players are talking about it, we have to talk about what the players are talking about. Callum Osmond said in his interview, he said that Rodgers didn't push to improve him. Martin O'Neill has given me a chance to improve myself and has sent my confidence soaring. That's a Celtic player talking about it. But yet there's some people saying you shouldn't be talking about that. It's negative against Brendan Rodgers. Fuck off. Of course we have to talk about it. You need to talk about what the Celtic players are talking about and the fact that they feel better. Do you know that they feel better about Martin O'Neill being in? And it's simple as that. It is as simple as that. So, but anyway, you know, maybe you need a bit of lie down this morning. Maybe you've got a hangover. Adam Eder scored over the weekend. Yeah, we know. Young Aussie is coached properly, and then the sky's the limit. Yeah, I think so. When is the final? It's in December. But the Huns are already out shouting for Rose the Heads. For Rose Head, Jesus God, honestly. 14th of December. It's just they will turn them on Thursday when they get humped. Who cares? We move on from it. It's all about the next game. Right the way, just hold that thought, Baz. Sorry, I'm just jumping through these comments. I'm trying to see if there's Ouija, is that your... I love it. Oh man, honestly. Fair play, mate. Fair play. Oh man, I love this. Honestly, this is the best thing ever. I mean, we could have been sat here like not even. I mean, I would have come on at 9 o'clock and just went, "Well, that was fucking shite. Let's just forget about it and move on." And lasted about 10 minutes. But nah, we've got to ride that wave of Martin O'Neill. You know what I mean? I mean, waiting for the Martin O'Neill merch drop in Superstar. Don't come on. This will send. I mean, I know that I'm not. We still need change at the club, right? Whilst we're all happy that we fucking beat that lot yesterday, we still do need change at the club. Let's not deny it. And I'm being a bit facetious saying just ride the wave of Martin O'Neill and buy the Martin O'Neill trackie. I will buy it when I'm home, by the way, because do you know what I mean? I don't get home often, and I wouldn't have bought it if Martin O'Neill wasn't here. If Brendan Rodgers was still here, I would never have bought it. But we're lucky with diving head on Osmond. 7 goals in the last 2 games. Exactly. It would have taken us 4 or 5 games to score that. Not slating Brendan Rodgers, just facts. Do you know, are we ready to stop blaming DD yet? Martin's been here a week. It's maybe a bit far. Maybe if he makes some changes, maybe if he makes some changes at boardroom level, some of the things will stop. But at the end, I don't think that there's anyone out there, and he's not going to sell his shares. Do you think that Rodgers was holding back the team so the fan turns against the boards? That's an interesting question. That is an interesting one. That's a really interesting one. Do we think that Rodgers was holding back the team, telling them to play a certain way, knowing the final result? That's interesting. Gives you a lot to think about. We'll talk about that later on, actually. I'm going to screenshot that one so I remember that. We'll do a live later on this afternoon, where we talk about going forward, because we still need to go forward with the changes to the board. We still need changes at boardroom level. Do you know, we still need a better, quicker transfer window. Do you know, there's lots of other things that need changed at Celtic, and maybe that might happen. You don't know. There's still the manager's situation. There's lots to talk about. Absolutely lots to talk about. So we'll jump back on a live later on this afternoon, maybe around about 3:30 or something. Engels also said something about glad that Rodgers is gone. It's interesting that a lot of the players are starting to come out. Players always do that, don't they? They always come out after a man. I mean, the amount of players... Listen, Matt O'Reilly wanted out the club. Matt O'Reilly said when Ange Postecoglou left, it's like night and day, the training. Do you know, so players like certain managers, they like certain aspects of certain managers, and not every manager can be everything to everyone. And I think that's where Brendan Rodgers went wrong. He tried to be everything to everyone, and but then he had his favourites. But anyway, he's in the past. Glad Osmond never let his head go down after they missed the first chance. He didn't say that both managers... we would have lost yesterday under Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, I think so. Right, I'm going to jump through these comments. This is the worst best on Meltdown ever since the last one. No, I think this is the best one for a few years, being perfectly honest. I mean, wanting to write to the SFA, we're writing to the SFA, we want answers. Brendan most press is basically saying that the players were not good enough. Why would they perform for him? Bad management. Yeah. Really looks like Goodson in January. Well, let's talk about the Celtic manager's role, because over the weekend there has been, I don't think that they were offered the job, but there's been a lot of chat saying that Craig Bellamy said no to Celtic, and the boy Lee Carsley said no to Celtic. To be fair, one's got an English fucking top on, an England top on, and I don't think that Craig Bellamy would be really accepted as a Celtic manager. No disrespect to either men, but I don't think that the Celtic fan base would have taken to the England under-21 coach or the Wales guy Craig Bellamy. I just don't think that they were... I don't think that they would tick all the boxes as far as Celtic fans are concerned. And maybe it's Coutson. You never know. But then again, Coutson's comments over the weekend about his team and about the fact that his team haven't been performing. He's been talking about the fact that he hasn't had the transfer window he wanted. It's very, very much Brendan Rodgers-esque type of talking. Now, there is an article, the East Anglian Daily Times, Ipswich Town won at the weekend, 4-1 over QPR. A really convincing scoreline gives them their much first needed victory on the road. And you've then got to fucking go on. It's not going to show me the rest. Arseholes. In fact, they've taken it down. Now, why have they taken that down? Interesting. They've hidden it. Fuckers have just hidden it. But anyway, when you look at the managers that are potentially out there that Celtic could get, I don't think that we need to rush. I really don't. The fact that Martin O'Neill's name rang out around Hampden Park with no Green Brigades. There was at points yesterday during the game where, even though Celtic were winning 1-0, the Rangers fans were in full voice, which is something that you could say, well, would that have happened under the Green Brigades? But then again, the noise around the stadium was far greater than it would have been if the Green Brigades were there. There's a lot of stuff that needs sorted out at Celtic over the next couple of weeks. Let's just get to the next international break with Celtic having won all their games. Now we turn our minds to Europa on Thursday evening, and that is going to be interesting, having Martin O'Neill back in the dugout for a European game. We've all kind of said that, Europe, we're just going to forget about it this season. We're not interested in Europe. When you look at the fact that Celtic have went up to 21st position in the Europa League, which means that we can get to the playoff. Can Celtic build? Can Martin O'Neill be here long enough to build on our 21st place position? You've got to remember that Rangers are ranked rotten bottom of the Europa League. They're in 36th position. Celtic can build on the result of Wednesday. We can build on the result from yesterday. Can we go into the game, a European game, away from home this week and get the result that's required from a team that's won their first 3 games in the Europa and sit top of the Europa League? It would be a monumental result if Celtic were to get the 3 points. Is it possible? Can we think the unthinkable? Can Martin O'Neill roll back the years with this Celtic team and do something that we all thought was going to be impossible? If Celtic do get the win, it will take them from 4 points. It will take them up to 7 points, which has got the potential to put them up and around the top 10 come the end of the events of Thursday evening. If we can push on and then get top 8, if we can be in that top 8 and automatically qualify for the last 16 in Europa, there'll be cries for Martin O'Neill to get the job for the rest of the season. There'll be cries for Martin O'Neill to see the job through, as they say. I'm actually buzzing for Thursday night now. It can't come quick enough. The players will have some time off today, rightly so. They'll all come back in on Tuesday. I'm not putting that one up, Robert. I can't put that up in the notes. Martin O'Neill planned an afternoon tea session and a dog walk some bingo on Wednesday. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, right, that's me done and dusted for this morning. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in this morning. God, there's been over 2,350 people have tuned in this morning. That was worthwhile staying around for. Join me later on this afternoon where we can talk about not just the game from yesterday, but look forward to an away game in Europe. An away game that a lot of Celtic fans maybe don't fancy us winning. But Martin O'Neill's got a little habit of doing unbelievable things in European football over the years. Can he do it this Thursday? On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. And just remember, the Huns are shite.